I'm John Gray, and you're in the right place if you want to improve your relationships, understand men and women, and grow in love. Many women want to have relationships, and they want a committed relationship. Yes, there's some women who don't want to have a relationship or make a commitment, but there's a lot of women that do. And certainly what happens in relationships is a result of what we say and we do. So let me give you some hints on how you might be sabotaging your relationships. So if you're sitting in a conversation with a woman who's not talking, what are you going to do? You're going to talk. You're going to keep talking and turn her off to you. Now, most men don't realize this. One of the biggest turnoffs in relationships is men who talk more than women. Now, certainly women will complain men don't talk, but actually what they say is men don't listen. You need to make it safe for a woman to talk more. So let's cover a few points how you might be sabotaging your relationship so you don't have conversation, you don't have communication. And it's so important to women to have that communication so they can feel attraction to you. Women will feel attracted to you the more they talk and you listen. If you talk more than them, it sabotages their ability to feel attraction or interest in you, that you provide something she needs, which is a man who sees her, hears her, feels affection for her, makes it safe for her. These are like very key things that you need to understand. So here's some practical tips. You're going out on a date, you're with this woman. Notice how you're talking more than her and stop. You stop because you want to create a space for her to talk more. So you might ask a question of her, and then she comments. And then instead of commenting back right away and taking up the whole space of conversation, expressing your thoughts, your feelings, your ideas, and so forth, don't. Instead, 3 simple ideas. Say to her, help me understand that better. Oh, tell me more after she's talked a little bit more. What's your experience been? Oh, where did you first start thinking about that? That's so interesting. What else? So you want to draw her out, making it safe. Then the next step, by not talking more, by asking more questions, is when she speaks, don't correct her. See, what men always do is we correct the woman. We want to point out to her how she's wrong because then we feel like we know more and that's going to impress her. That doesn't impress her. What impresses her when you listen to her more and you make her feel safe to express her point of view. Now, it's not like you have to suppress yourself. You just have to make sure you're not suppressing her. You can have a different point of view. Oh, I have a different point of view about that. And you say it without any tendency to try to correct her, to teach her, to make her feel differently. That's the whole art of creating safety in a conversation. So when she expresses herself, let there be pauses. You don't have to always be talking. Consider what she's saying. Think about it. Think about her experience and show curiosity. Curiosity into what a woman feels, what she thinks, what she wants, what she wishes, what she likes. This helps a woman to feel safe and begin to open up her desire to spend time with you. Open up her feelings of wanting to have a relationship with you. But so far, without that skill, you've been sabotaging your relationships. So your experience is you keep finding women who are not available to you, who are not interested in a relationship. And I think the key to this is communication, but you're going about it the wrong way. The right way, what you're doing is wanting to talk more and share more, is actually good information for women to know. They need to share more in order to feel a greater attraction with a man. But if a man keeps trying to solve her problems, correct her ideas, point out where she's right or what she's wrong, that will sabotage the relationship. One of the biggest challenges and obstacles to creating lasting love and romance is arguments. Certainly we're going to have differences with our partner, but fighting, painful arguments is what we want to avoid. So let's look at some of the ways to stop an argument. clearly, when we're having an argument, we're doing it. So there's something we can notice within ourselves and stop. I'm going to start with men first. The number one thing that destroys relationships from the male side is when you're having a difference of opinion, we'll call that an argument, is that men start to get angry and their tone of voice becomes focused and more aggressive. And he doesn't even realize it. But to a woman, it sounds like he's being mean, he's not thoughtful, he's not considerate, and clearly he's not listening to her point of view. Actually, when we're getting angry, we're in fight or flight mode, and blood flows to the back part of the brain and stops going to the front part of the brain where we can actually hear another point of view. So once you're getting angry, it's time for a timeout. Want to stop an argument? Notice when you're getting angry, you're being defensive, you're in fight or flight. Take a breath, see if you can center yourself, or say, I need some time to think about this, and take a timeout. During the timeout, for your man, forget about what you're bothered by. Do something to make you feel good. Talk to somebody, do some sporting event, do whatever you do to feel good. Then come back to your relationship thinking about how you sabotage that argument by being angry. That's the first thing men tend to do. The second one is a woman could be talking and we unknowingly become dismissive. We say things like, well, that's ridiculous. We might laugh, well, invalidating her feelings. Why would you worry about that? Well, that's not important. That's being very reasonable at a time where she might be emotional, and that will immediately cause her to go into fight or flight and be unable to hear or appreciate your point of view. So stop an argument by stopping making dismissive comments that invalidate her feelings. You shouldn't feel that way. That's ridiculous. You're making a big deal out of nothing. That's not a problem. I fixed that. That is a way we sabotage our relationships as men. The third thing we tend to do is we're not even being defensive or charged up or being condescending. We think we're actually being very helpful, and we give solutions. Don't worry about that because I'll do this, or you ought to do that. Well, if you're complaining about traffic, what route did you take? Let me suggest another route. Now, certainly wanting to give solutions is a good thing if your partner's looking for that. But quite often, arguments will become amplified and turn into painful arguments when men get too detached and too into solving the problem rather than taking time to the opposite. Rather than give a solution, give what the real solution is, which is understanding. She's looking for understanding if there's tension between the two of you. That's one of the most powerful ways to connect. So instead of giving solutions, actually give more understanding. And that will look like saying something like, well, help me understand that better. And then as you're listening, make little noises. Mm-hmm. And what else? So you say, help me understand that better. Or you might say, tell me more about that. Or you might say, well, what else? These are encouraging statements that say you want to hear, because when women feel heard, then their stress levels go down, blood flow goes to the front part of their brain, and they start to feel better, and then they're capable of hearing your point of view and appreciating your point of view. So ultimately with women, it's very important that we give them what they need first, which is the understanding, and then and only then are they going to give you, the man, the understanding and appreciation that you need in order to make your points and so forth. Now, what are some common mistakes that women make that amplify arguments and turn them into painful arguments? One of the first things women will tend to use is rhetorical questions. They'll say, why would you do that? With the implied message is there's no good reason. Well, why would you say that to me? How could you be like that? When did you do that? These rhetorical questions sort of imply he's not good enough. But you're not coming out front and just saying, I think you're being not good enough. And then he could say, well, you're being critical. No, women disguise it. I think the best example is, why is this room such a mess? As if there's a good answer when there is no good answer. You're implying there's no good answer. Why didn't you call me? Again, it's a question like there's no good answer that he could give. So rhetorical questions is one of the big mistakes women make. Another mistake that women will make is to amplify their point of view by bringing up past experiences. He'll give an answer to your question, but you did it this time, and you did it this time, and you did it this time. So bringing in the past is never a good idea in an argument. Just stay in present time as much as possible. And the third thing that women will tend to do is make generalizations. You never do this. You always do this. I do everything. It gets blown into a big picture. And at those times, it's best to take a time out, talk about your generalizations and strong feelings with a friend. When you're feeling more centered, then come back, maybe 3 points to say, honey, when you do this, this is how I feel. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to say anything about it. I just want you to take it into your mind so you can do something about it when you think to. This demanding attitude, tone of voice, is what causes men to become most defensive. And one of the secrets is just say, I want you to know how I'm feeling. I prefer you not say anything. And we can discuss the practicalities of this later. That's if you tend to have fights and arguments. So these are some really helpful events to avoid painful arguments in your relationships. And when you do that, then you can grow together in love. You feel safer with each other. You feel more appreciated. You feel heard. And these are the foundation principles of lasting love.